This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Now, if you've been a big supporter of Deontay Wilder, for whatever reason it may be, for quite some time, first of all, big up to you for supporting your guy, and for whatever reason you do support him, whether it be through national bias or whatever it may be. And win, lose or draw, you'll keep on supporting him. So big up to all of you. But unfortunately, there are a minority that do spoil it for some of you guys, and it's the conspiracy theorists, the Deontay Wilder apologist channels, the Deontay Wilder resident bootlicker channels. It's these kind of ones. And these guys have been putting out all these kind of conspiracy theories as to why Deontay Wilder lost. It even went all the way back to 2 years ago to the first fight. I don't know quite why it's relevant now, and it wasn't relevant then. It's ridiculous, okay? So even you guys must look at Wilder and think, you know what, maybe we've been barking up the wrong tree with this guy, because it's now getting embarrassing. And as much as that you guys have been giving me grief, and of course many other channels as well, surely now you can look back at some of the things that we've said about Wilder and go, you know what, yeah, absolutely correct. And we've been brainwashed a little bit by some of these chumps. Anyway, for this particular story, now I haven't watched this interview. I don't watch these bootlicker channels. I really, really don't. But my source for this one is Michael Benson, one of the guys at TalkSport, who he does give these guys some kind of platform for some reason. He does direct people and traffic over to them. But yeah, he doesn't do it for other people here in the UK so much, unless of course it's IFL TV and those kind of ones. Bit weird, isn't it, Michael? Bit weird. But anyway, he's my source, and I'm not going to tell you who his source is. You can go find out for yourself. It sounds very, very much like 78 spots of an STD. All right? Yeah. Now, on this particular story, Deontay Wilder is not only backing up all these claims about how there's glove gate and what Tyson Fury somehow managed to bypass the Nevada State Athletic Commission, who kept hold of his gloves under lock and key until the night of the fight, and they oversaw the wraps being put on and the gloves being put on and taped up and all this kind of stuff. And Deontay Wilder's own manager and trainer was also there overseeing it all, but somehow Tyson Fury had loaded gloves. We can go on and on about that, but of course I did do a video on that yesterday. That'll pop up at the end of this one, so go check it out. But this particular story is about Mark Breland, so this can be dedicated to Mark Breland. Wilder, one of the many conspiracy theories is that Deontay Wilder had his water spiked. Now, you have to look at these and go, well, these channels were saying this, plus Glovegate, plus many other things for quite some time, for the last 8 months or whatever it is. Was Wilder telling these people to put out that kind of content in the beginning? Was he? Sounds very much like it, doesn't it? Sounds very much like it. But of course, these guys, they are sheep. That's what they are. They don't think for themselves. That's why they walk around in a pack. Okay, they can't think as individuals. But to say that Mark Breland is the reason why he lost the Tyson Fury fight is ridiculous. On two accounts, he's saying that Mark Breland has something to do with his water potentially being spiked, and the other one, Mark Breland throwing in the towel to help out Tyson Fury. In fact, we'll get into Deontay Wilder's statement on both of those particular subjects. So the first one goes, my water was spiked as if I took a muscle relaxer or something like that. My water was tampered with. It was like I had no control over my body. My legs were weak. I think Mark Breland has got something to do with my water as well too. So there's the first one. The second one on Mark Breland is, this mother lover, he didn't say mother lover, but you get what it is that he's saying. This mother lover didn't even give me a warning. If you are part of the plot, that ain't gonna matter. What? Okay. He had to fulfill the obligation. In round 7, I'm getting myself back together, and all of a sudden the towel is thrown in. So there's your second part of the statement. Wilder, do you even know what you're talking about? I don't think you do. Now, so let's talk about the second part first. So Mark Breland threw in the towel just as Deontay Wilder is getting himself back into it. Go watch the fight back, you complete moron. You were pinned up in the corner. Fury was landing huge shots on you. The referee was stepping in as the towel was coming in. You was about to go to sleep. And if Mark Breland had not thrown the towel in, the referee was about to stop that fight. You absolute oaf. Now, the other one, the water was spiked, as if he had a muscle relaxer. Okay. Maybe you were just scared, Wilder. Maybe the occasion got to you. Because we know originally you were blaming the suit. But here's my question. If your water was spiked, and there's no way that it's Mark Breland, by the way. Mark Breland, who has represented the United States of America as an elite amateur, and of course as a professional as well, will go against his own countryman, a guy that he's been in the corner with for over a decade. So Tyson Fury gets to win. I know some people will draw links with Mark Breland and Crunk. Come on, man. This is 2020. Okay, this isn't in the 80s now. This is ridiculous. But here's my question. If your water was spiked, Wilder, why didn't it show up on the VADA test? Why didn't it show up in the VADA test? Because you were VADA tested after, was you not? You were VADA tested before the fight and you were VADA tested after the fight. Now, the only way that you could possibly be tested and this kind of thing not show up, if you was spiked, is if you have some kind of therapeutic use exemptions. In other words, you are allowed to take certain things because it's prescribed by a doctor, whether it be for recovery after surgery, because we know that Wilder, he's had numerous surgeries, that he's always in and out of hospital, always seems to happen after a fight as well, doesn't it? And one of the many things that could happen is steroid use. Steroids are used as a way to speed up recovery, prescribed by doctors with injections, all that kind of stuff. So are you being masked, which is why this didn't get showed up on your VADA test? That's the only possible thing I could think of as to why it wouldn't show up on your VADA test. Other than the fact that it never happened, how about that one? That's probably more like it though, isn't it? Your water was not spiked, was it? Maybe the occasion got to you. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. Maybe you didn't train properly. Maybe you got scared. Maybe Fury hit you a lot harder than what you was expecting. Who knows, right? But Mark Breland, who is, for many people in the United States of America, a bit of a hero, because he's one of the elite amateurs. When you look at the history of American amateurs representing their country, he's one of the ones that stands out as one of the top, is he not? And he's been a friend and in the corner of Wilder for over a decade. And what, he's going to throw all that, turn his back on his fellow countrymen in favour of a Brit? Why? Because Sugar Hill is training for Sugar Hill is training Tyson Fury for that fight. Of course, there's a bit of a relationship due to Crunk. Even though Mark Breland's relationship with Crunk was with Manny Stewart, not Sugar Hill. But he's going to throw in the towel and spike Wilder's water for Fury. Really? Are you sure about that? That's ridiculous. But we're going to go back on to there was no warning given. Well, there was plenty of warning given. Do you know where the warning was given? When the doctor was checking your ear hole. That's when the warning was given. The warning was given when you weren't landing nothing on Fury. The warning was given when Fury was bouncing you up and down off the canvas. That's where the warning was given. And just because you've got a trainer like JD's, who oversaw all the gloves and everything, a trainer like JD's, who doesn't care whether you live or die in that ring quite clearly, just because he's not saying to you, listen, if you don't improve, we're going to have to pull the plug on this one. Because he don't give a damn. Whereas Mark Breland, he throws in the towel to save you, where probably 99% of the boxing world agree with Mark Breland. But even if he wasn't going to throw in the towel, the referee was stepping in at that moment to save you from certain knockout. You're an absolute clown. And if anybody can support all this, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Because how can it be that this guy's coming out with all these excuses? All of them. Tyson Fury's gloves were tampered with. His water was spiked. The costume was too heavy. Mark Breland threw in the towel because he's part of Team Fury, really. And spiked his water, this particular guy. A guy who was outside the changing room after, because he wasn't allowed in, crying. You're a scumbag, Wilder. You're an absolute scumbag. That's what you are. And if anybody backs him up, then you're a scumbag too for perpetuating these kind of narratives. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, I don't know Mark Breland. I'm not an expert on his career and his life or anything like that. I'm not one of these boxing historians, okay? There are plenty of other around who are. But What I do know about Mark Breland is, because he's not running around shouting and always doing interview after interview and this, that and the other. Why? Because Mark Breland, on the very rare occasions that he does actually do interviews, he did actually give critical points towards Wilder over certain fights. He didn't do this and he didn't do that. Because Mark Breland is a very honest guy. And to suggest that Mark Breland would throw in the towel because he didn't want you to win, that Mark Breland would have something to do with your water being spiked, you absolute simple-minded buffoon. What an absolute idiot. This guy is the gift that keeps on giving for people like me. He really is. I mean, not only is he now saying this and the back glove getting everything, he even then, after all that time, going in on Anthony Joshua and saying how Anthony Joshua was avoiding him, this and the other, said that Anthony Joshua offered me more money than what I got to fight Tyson Fury. So why'd you go fight Tyson Fury for and not Anthony Joshua for undisputed, you absolute muppet? Everything that I've said about you is correct. You are a clown. You are a clown. Moron. Anyway, drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you on the next video.